Some betrayals don't happen in the open. They happen quietly, right beside you. While you're asleep. While you trust them. While you believe everything is exactly as it seems. This is Breakup Diaries. Stories about the moments that change everything when you least expect it. It was the light that woke me. Not a sound, not a movement. Just a faint blue glow cutting through the darkness of the room. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Tyler had a habit of staying up late, scrolling through his phone when he couldn't sleep. It was normal, familiar, safe. But something felt off. Maybe it was the angle of the light. Or the way it flickered across the ceiling. Or maybe it was something I can't explain, just that quiet instinct that tells you to pay attention. I kept my eyes closed at first. Listening. The room was silent except for the soft tapping of his fingers against the screen. Slow, intentional, not the kind of scrolling you do when you're bored. The kind you do when you're focused. Curious. Engaged. I shifted slightly, just enough to see without making it obvious. And that's when I saw it. His phone was angled away from me, but not enough. A profile. Clean, bright, carefully put together. A photo I recognized immediately, one I had taken of him months ago. But it wasn't the picture that made my chest tighten. It was the words underneath it. Single, looking for something real. My breath caught, but I didn't move. Didn't react. Because for a second, my mind tried to make it make sense. Maybe it was old. Maybe it wasn't active. Maybe. Then his thumb moved. A message opened. Another woman's name. A conversation already in progress. And then he smiled. Not the casual kind, not the polite one. The real one. The one I thought only I knew. Something cold settled in my chest as I lay there, inches away from him. Close enough to hear his breathing. Close enough to feel the warmth of his body beside mine. And yet somehow, I had never felt further away. I should have said something. Turned over, asked a question. Done anything. But I didn't. Because in that moment, something shifted inside me. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just enough for me to realize one terrifying thing. This wasn't the first time he had done this. If you think I confronted him right then, I didn't. I stayed still. Exactly the way I was. Because something about that moment told me, if I moved too fast, I'd lose the truth before I could understand it. So I kept my breathing steady, slow, even. Pretending to sleep, while everything inside me was wide awake. The glow from his phone shifted slightly as he adjusted his position. I could feel it now, even without looking directly. That cold blue light brushing against my skin like a quiet reminder that something wasn't right. Then I heard it. A soft exhale, almost like a laugh. Not loud, not obvious. But real. And that's what made it worse. Because whatever was happening on that screen, it wasn't casual. It meant something. I let a few seconds pass before I carefully opened my eyes again, just enough. He was still there. Focused, engaged. His thumb moved slowly, deliberately, like he was choosing his words. A typing. A deleting. Typing again. I watched the rhythm of it, the familiarity. Like this wasn't new. Like this was something he had done before. And then the screen shifted again. Another message. Another name. Different from the first. My chest tightened, but I forced myself not to react. Because now it wasn't just one conversation. It was a pattern. A quiet, hidden version of him I had never seen before. Minutes passed, or maybe longer, I couldn't tell anymore. Time felt stretched. Eventually, the light disappeared. The room fell back into darkness. And just like that, he turned over. Closer this time. His arm brushed lightly against mine as he settled in beside me, like nothing had happened. Like everything was exactly the same. But it was. Not anymore. I lay there, staring into the dark, feeling the space between us grow wider by the second. Because now I knew something I couldn't unknow. I wasn't the only one in his world. I was just the one lying next to him. And for the first time since I met him. That didn't feel like enough. Backhand index pointing, right if you've ever ignored a red flag, because you wanted to believe someone, stay with me. Because what I found the next day. It made that night feel like the beginning, not the worst part. If that night felt like a nightmare, the next morning made it real. I didn't bring it up. Didn't ask questions, didn't look at him any differently. At least, not in a way he could notice. Because now, this wasn't about confrontation. It was about confirmation. Tyler moved through the morning like everything was normal. Coffee, small talk, a quick kiss before he left. The same routine. The same version of him I thought I knew. But now I was watching. And once you start watching, you stop missing things. The second he walked out, I picked up my phone. I didn't hesitate this time. I searched. It didn't take long. His profile came up faster than I expected, like it had never been hidden at all. Same picture I took, same smile, same angle. But a completely different story. Single, looking for something real. I stared at the words, longer than I should have. Trying to understand how someone could erase you so easily. Like you didn't exist. Like you never had. My fingers moved before I could stop myself. I clicked. I scrolled. Everything was active. Recent logins. Updated photos. New prompts answered like he had all the time in the world to build a version of himself that didn't include me. And then I saw it. Messages. More than one. More than a few. Different names, different conversations. Same tone. Playful, curious, engaging. The way he used to talk to me when we first met. I opened one. Then another. And another. Each one felt like a small crack forming inside my chest. Because none of them felt random. None of them felt new. This wasn't something he had just started. This was something he had been doing. Consistently. Carefully. And the worst part. He was good at it. Too good. Like he had practiced being someone else for a long time. I dropped my phone onto the couch, staring at the ceiling as everything settled in. This wasn't suspicion anymore. This wasn't doubt. This was proof. Clear, undeniable. And yet, one question refused to leave my mind. If this version of him was real, then who exactly had I been living with? If you think finding the profile was the hardest part, it was. The hardest part was realizing how much of it made sense. All the little things I ignored. All the moments that felt off, but not enough to question. Now they weren't small anymore. They were answers. I went back through everything. Not just his profile. My life. Our lives. The nights he said he was working late. The times he turned his phone away just slightly. The moments he seemed distracted, distant, like part of him was somewhere else. I used to explain those things away. Now I didn't have to. Because I knew where he had been. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, digitally. I opened his profile again, slower this time. Studying it. Comparing it to the man I thought I knew. And that's when it hit me. He wasn't just talking to other women. He was becoming someone else with them. His tone was lighter. More open. More intentional. He asked questions he hadn't asked me in months. Said things he hadn't said to me in a long time. It wasn't just a lie. It was a completely different version of him. One that felt new. But also familiar in a way that hurt. Because I had seen that version before. At the beginning. When everything felt easy. When I thought I was the only one he was choosing. My chest tightened as the realization settled deeper. He didn't lose that version of himself. He just stopped giving it to me. And gave it to them instead. I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling something shift inside me. Not confusion. Not even anger. A clarity. The kind that doesn't come all at once, but when it does, it changes everything. Because now, I understood something I hadn't before. I wasn't being replaced. I had already been replaced. Without even knowing it. The relationship I thought I was in didn't exist the way I believed it did. And maybe it never had. I closed the app slowly, my reflection staring back at me through the dark screen. For a moment, I didn't recognize myself. Not because I had changed, but because I had been living in a version of reality that wasn't real. And now that I could finally see the truth, there was only one thing left to figure out. What I was going to do with it. If you think I waited days to confront him, I didn't. I just waited until I knew enough. That night, everything felt different. Not because anything had changed, but because I had. Tyler walked in like he always did, relaxed, comfortable. Like he wasn't living two completely different lives at the same time. "You okay?" he asked, dropping his keys. I nodded, yeah. But I didn't look away this time. I held his gaze. And for a second, something shifted in his expression. Not guilt. Awareness. "I saw your profile," I said. Just like that. No build-up, no warning. The silence that followed wasn't confusion. It was calculation. "What are you talking about?" he replied. I almost smiled. "The one where you're single," I continued, looking for something real. His jaw tightened slightly. "That's old," he said quickly. "It's active," I replied. Another pause. Shorter this time. Less confident. It doesn't mean anything, he added. I let out a quiet breath. Then why are you talking to them? That's when he looked away. And in that moment, everything I needed to know settled. It's just conversations, he said. It's not serious. Not serious. Like that made it better. Not serious for you, I said, but real enough for them, and real enough to lie to me. I didn't lie, he pushed back. I leaned forward slightly. If you're single online, then what am I? That question didn't just sit between us. It exposed everything. He opened his mouth, then closed it. No answer. No explanation. Just silence. And somehow, that silence said more than anything he could have said. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he finally admitted. I nodded slowly. That's the problem, I said. You didn't mean to stop either. The truth hung there, heavy and undeniable. Because this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Repeated. Refined. Hidden. And now exposed. I stood up, feeling calmer than I expected. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I finally understood it. He didn't lose control. He just never chose me enough to stop. The strange thing about clarity is that once you have it, you don't need anything else. Not more answers. Not more explanations. Just distance. I didn't argue after that. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't ask him to explain it differently. Because there was nothing left to explain. Tyler stood there, waiting for anger, for emotion, for something he could respond to. But I had already moved past that part. I'm leaving, I said quietly. He blinked. You're overreacting. I almost laughed. Overreacting. That word used to make me second-guess myself. Make me shrink. But not anymore. No, I said calmly. I'm just reacting to the truth. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration building. It's not like I cheated, he said. And for a second, I just looked at him. Really looked at him. At how easily he said that. At how comfortable he was minimizing something that had already broken everything. You created a whole life where I didn't exist, I replied. That's worse. The silence that followed felt final. Not heavy. Just finished. I grabbed my things slowly, not rushing, not hesitating. Because for the first time in a long time, I knew exactly what I was doing. And more importantly, why. As I walked toward the door, he didn't stop me. Didn't fight for me. Didn't even try. And somehow, that hurt less than everything else. Because it confirmed what I had already realized. I was never the choice. Just the convenience. Outside, the night air felt colder than usual. But it also felt honest. No illusions, no hidden screens, no quiet lies glowing in the dark. Just reality. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of it. As I stood there, one thought settled quietly in my mind. Not about him. About me. If I hadn't woken up that night, how long would I have stayed in a relationship where I only existed in real life, but not in his truth? And that question, that's the one I still don't have an answer to.